Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Rising, welcome. November is a big month because November has a new moon, it has a full moon, but its full moon is an eclipse full moon, a lunar eclipse in the month of November. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to find out in what area of your life where the eclipse lines up. When we talk about an eclipse, we're talking about the point of the eclipse and its polar opposite. Two areas of your life that will be lit up. Listen carefully for the degrees. I'm going to give you the dates. I'm going to give you the degrees. An eclipse has the power to create changes. 2 degrees before the eclipse, the degrees of the eclipse, or 2 degrees after the eclipse, change came. I do quick looks for no charge. You've liked, you've subscribed, you've tapped that bell. You say, hey, G, I'm here. I'm new. Or hey, G, I'm here. I've been here for a while. I need some information. I don't know anything about this. Can you help me out? I actually love doing that. Leave me your birth digits down below. It's free. The ecliptic full moon means there's going to be 2 areas of your life that you're going to want to know about. All the Taurians out there, because we have a lot in common. Not just me, but we, because I'm literally walking through this with you. I am a Taurus Ascendant, just like you are. And if you do not know if you are a Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Rising, same thing, just leave me your birth digits. I can find out for you. It's called reciprocation. You spend time here, you watch the video, you listen because you're thirsty for knowledge, making sure that you get a chart to you if that's what you want, or if you just simply want your rising sign so that you can listen to videos. However deep you want to go, wherever it is you want to go, I will meet you there. Once we get to January of 2021, like January 8th, I'll have another video out for you by then, but I think by January 8th, Mars then switches signs. It leaves Aries, and guess where it goes? In your sign. Mars enters your sign, Taurus. My sign, Taurus. When it leaves the Arian energy, it will no longer square what it's squaring right now. Right now, Mars is squaring all the energy in Capricorn. It's squaring all the energy in Cancer. So for Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Rising, your Capricorn energy that's being squared, not just by Mars, but by Eris also as well. Eris is going to still be in Aries for a while, but it's been squaring with Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn. And yeah, there's been a lot. Burden and responsibilities have been heavy. And that's because we have so much in the Capricorn energies. Our duty, our responsibility, our ambitions, and our goals. We're very driven, and there's just this pressure to keep going, to keep trying, to keep ascending. Things have gotten so serious. Squaring your 9th house and squaring your 3rd house. So your 3rd house is your thinking, your ability to think and talk and relate and communicate. But because you have the sign of Cancer there, it's your feelings about communication, how you feel about everything about the 3rd house. Now remember, the 3rd house is your neighbors, is your siblings, okay? 3rd house is social media, right? It's all the Gemini stuff we always talk about, because Gemini, its natural placement is the 3rd house. You can see the stars that came out, right? G's got stars. You know what they say, shoot for the moon, baby, because even if you miss, you're going to be among the stars. And well, I'm taking that to heart, and I'm saying, all right, I got to do this. I got to shoot for the moon so that I can at least, even if I missed, I will be among the stars. And so I'll give you a little star action there. You take it off of me. The 3rd house was the way you talk, you relate. It's how you think. It's the way you communicate. And their 9th house is your beliefs. Your 9th house is your belief, okay? It's also your freedom, your location of freedom. It's truth. It's long distance traveling. Oh my gosh. Other than the pandemic, I wouldn't have been able to long distance travel anyway. I hadn't been able to long distance travel. I got grounded in 2018. I'm excited about Mars being to finally be able to just get out of there and stop squaring. It'll move into your sign. And when it moves into the Taurus energy, your sign, that's Earth. Well, Earth trines Earth. So the difficulties that Mars brought to your Capricorn energy up there, it'll now bring ease because it'll be trining it, okay? And that's your 9th house. This is religion, spirituality, how you were feeling so heavy and the responsibilities and the ability to travel long distances, the ability to achieve your goals and ambitions. What will happen is in the beginning of January with Mars entering Taurus energy, thus sending a trine to the Capricorn energy, your 9th house, things should loosen up for you in that area of your life. All right, your ability to travel long distance, your ability to touch in with foreigners, your ability to achieve your spiritual goals, your ability to achieve your higher learning goals and ambitions, anything that had to do with publishing. This is your ambition and your goals, but it lines up with your money and your income because to you, Taurus, is the money and the income. Okay. So essentially, this is your first house lining up with your ninth house. Thus, lining up with your other earth energy, your Virgo energy, and that's going to be in your fifth house, okay? And that is children, fun, romance, joy, creativity. This has been so big for me, the creativity, your creative projects, your creative goals and endeavors. People ask, gosh, you have a lot of do you have a lot of Virgo energy? Are you a Virgo? Because there's so much detail in what I do and what I talk about and what I share. No, but I have Uranus in Virgo, right? And Virgo's ruler is Mercury, and Uranus and Mercury together. It's like I need all the information for something to make sense to me. And if something's missing, I can't make sense out of it. Unfortunately, that's what that means. So I keep digging until I get all the facts. But your midheaven, your 10th house is your Aquarian energy. And the Aquarian energy is astrology. It is science. It is being very individualistic, being very unique in your goals, in your ambitions, in your worldly ambitions. That's your 11th house. That's your 10th house, having Aquarian energy there. So there's part of this astrology makes sense, right? And vlogging, doing things on the internet. This is going to be part of that. And it's a part of humanity. It's a part of your obligation to humanity. It's a part of doing something that will help the group advance. That is Aquarius in the 10th house. You have it, my friend, as do I. So I totally get it. But when Mars makes its move in January, okay, I'm excited because we should see some things moving and things that we've been working hard on, Capricorn, right? Very slow and methodical. We should see some things happening in our life where there's a little bit more ease, okay? And where the universe is stepping in and saying, I recognize you've been doing a lot of hard work and you've been trying, and I'm here to assist you a little bit. Now, Mars going into Taurus, this could be, I'm looking forward to this because there should be, I'm hoping, health-wise, mobility-wise, because Mars is the body, Taurus is stamina and endurance, and any projects that I started, I will now finish because Taurus is the finisher, right? Mars is the starter, right? That's Aryan energy. Mars is the starter, loves to start stuff, but Taurus says it's time to finish now. I will complete this job. That's Taurian energy, right? We now want to dip into the eclipse of November 30th, okay? November 30th, there's an eclipse, and that eclipse is at 9 degrees in Gemini energy. So you're 9 degrees in your Gemini second house, but it's 9 degrees of Gemini. Remember, duality, understanding the duality of who you are. Second house is your income and your money. Gemini energy, okay, remember I was talking about earlier, it's the same as the third house because it rules that placement. So we have to think about what are the keywords for Gemini. This is social media. This is the internet, but it's networking. It's communicating, it's business, it's learning a new trade, something with the hands, but it's also talking. It's an air sign, so it's the way I think, right? And the way I communicate. It's sibling energy, okay? It's my neighbors, it's people around me, it's barter and trade, people within my community. If this is in your second house, you have to be flexible, right? Because it's what it is. It's mutable air. You have to be willing to switch up the way that you communicate, okay? You have to be, depending upon who you're talking to, who you're relating with. You have to learn how to change your lingo to appeal to different people. Gemini energy, very mutable and flexible, meaning it doesn't want to always be doing the same thing. It needs to be able to have lots of different avenues of income, okay? Lots of different streams of income. So this is learning a new trade so that you can have another income stream. Why limit yourself to have just one income stream? I just got off the phone with a good friend of mine who's another YouTuber who we were talking, and she said, you know what? I'm thinking of this other platform. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Here's my thoughts on it. I don't know a lot, but if you've got any thoughts about it, let me know. And her thinking was, well, it's not that I want to leave YouTube. It's that why should I limit what I'm doing to YouTube? What I'm doing may work just as well or better on another platform, but I never know until I try. And so that is the spirit of this eclipse, okay? This eclipse energy, it's the north node. It's a lunar north node eclipse, okay, in Gemini. So lunar, meaning it's a full moon eclipse, all right? Full moons are a culmination and a completion, a closure, and an ending. And because it's the north node, it's an ending that must occur so that you can move forward. because the North Node is your future. It's where you're headed, right? And this is in Gemini. It's learning how to talk and to relate and communicate, how to think and be flexible, how to have additional avenues of incomes, right? Different streams of income coming in. It's in your second house, Taurus. So I really, really want you to really just hear this, to be open to this information, because the universe is going to offer you assistance by doing this. And so when you have this kind of an eclipse, it's saying you're completing something. You've already learned something. Now it's time to learn another new thing. So you might have to maybe wrap something up, maybe put a closure on something. And it may not be a complete closure. Like for me, I'm thinking, well, do I leave YouTube? No, but maybe I check out another platform, right? To see what else works, where else it works. That is this energy. This is the universe kind of like, I'm nudging you and I'm telling you, I'm asking you to be open and go experiment. And so I'm sharing that with you because we share the same rising sign, and I'm saying the same thing to you. It's about learning a new skill set. And likely in some way, shape, or form, it's going to have to do with all the keywords for Gemini. Maybe not every single one of them, but consider all of them, right? And you can't ignore that the social media platforms, learning how to work online, learning how to communicate and relate and how to sell online, because it is the hands. And it's not just these hands going like this, although this is communicating and talking with my hands, right? We all know what that means, right? And when you got your phone in your hand and you're on the different platforms, that's exactly what you're doing. But there may be somebody else where this means for them, they have to learn sign language, right? Or somebody that will start vlogging, right? And what do you do when you vlog? Yeah, you talk with your hands, right? It works. And it may be learning a new way of thinking, learning a new way of thinking about how you're going to make money, okay? And being open to that, because it's all in your second house and this is your income. Now we're going to move on to December. There is another eclipse in the month of December. This eclipse happens on December 14th, and it's at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. Anytime I talk about an eclipse, or time any astrologer talks about an eclipse, you never talk about just the one point of the eclipse, okay? So I'm kind of going backwards a little bit. The November eclipse, we spoke about 9 degrees of Gemini, okay? But you want to see if you have something at that point, okay? But you also want to see if you have something at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, okay? Because that means the eclipse will be a factor in both of those houses for you, all right? And so Taurus, your Gemini energies in your second house, which puts your Sagittarius energy in your 8th house, which is other folks' money, other people's money. Okay, this is that deeply bonded relationships, but it's having deep emotions about that, okay, because it's the 8th house energy. Sometimes we inherit money from folks. The 8th house is that metaphysical house, okay? Now we have an eclipse in December, and we're talking about your 8th house because we have 23 degrees solar North Node eclipse in Sagittarius. 23 degrees. So we are also going to be looking at your second house at 23 degrees of Gemini, because this is how the eclipses work. They're powerful enough where they happen at this point, but they're strong enough to send a beam of energy all the way down to the other end of its polar opposite. Okay? Polar opposite of Sagittarius is Gemini. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for the Gemini November eclipse. For the December eclipse, okay, 2 degrees before, 2 degrees after, that means we're looking at 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 degrees of Sagittarius energy. What does this eclipse mean? The Sagittarian eclipse is your beliefs. It could be hidden judgments. It could be opinions about something. It is freedom. Your belief about other people's money. Okay, it's your belief about you and the way you work with other people's money. This will have everything to do with your ability to receive. Okay, because it's connected to your second house. And the second house is all about how I receive. And sometimes learning how to receive is just as hard as earning money. Many times it's not the earning where the issue is. Sometimes it's simply the receiving. There might be people in your life who want to give, who want to help, who want to donate, who want to support. But there may be ways in your thinking that do that create this uncomfortable or awkwardness, and your thoughts create. They are things. Your thoughts are real. So you could literally energetically be blocking gifts and blessings, and you don't really want to do that. You want to make it so that if somebody wants to help, allow someone to help, allow someone to give. Sometimes when people give, they're not really giving. Many times when people give, there are strings attached. If there's strings attached to it, it wasn't a gift. that line of thinking, depending upon how extreme you are with it, it may prevent blessings coming. And I have to work with this too. I am right there with you in this. Okay. I'm right there. I don't ever usually feel comfortable about people doing things like that for me. And usually in life when I was put in a situation where it was like between a rock and a hard place. It was like, well, gee, what are you going to do? You don't have much of it. You don't have many options here, and so it was like a piece of my pride I had to put to the side, and I had to realize, just allow someone to give, and if they're really, really giving, genuinely, they do it simply because they see someone in need and they're just trying to help. They don't want something from you. And so that's a whole lot of discernment you got to do and figure out for yourself in your own life. Comes to the December eclipse, this 8th house energy it's Pluto, right? This is Pluto. And so there's a lot of this past life bonded stuff that happens. And so beliefs about that, beliefs about being tethered to others, beliefs about if I'm tethered to somebody else, then I won't be really free. I know that was a really big issue for me, a very, very, very big issue for me, not ever wanting to be tethered to somebody for that reason. My freedom being so important, and the beliefs around that releasing, because it's a solar south node eclipse, and the south node is, you don't need this anymore. You're leaving that behind, right? And so this isn't so much something that, this is more of a, you're done already. It's one of those things where something can come in and happen, but in essence, the universe is very powerful, especially if you have something that matches that degree. And this just won't be a part of your life any longer. The universe is saying, you've already perfected this. You've already mastered this. You no longer need this. And so there's this element of mystery, but it doesn't have to be all mysterious, because if you, in your chart, can look to see where your personal Jupiter is, all right? Because Jupiter rules the Sagittarian energy. So I'll give you an example. In my chart, I say, okay, I see I got Sagittarius in my 8th. I want to figure out what else this means. Go look for your Jupiter. I look in my chart, bam, there's my Jupiter. My Jupiter's in Leo. Okay, it's in Leo and it's in my 4th house, all right? So right there, if I know what Leo means, that immediately starts filling up a whole lot of more meaning into that 8th house. And Leo is my individuality. And that's exactly what I shared with you already. Leo is all about, it's my ego and who I am as an independent person. It's my willpower. It's, if I am bonded and tethered to somebody in that way, I will no longer be able, I will somehow no longer shine. Like my sun would be covered up, because the sun is the ruler of that. Okay, the sun is the ruler of the sign of Leo. The Leo is how you uniquely express your creative endeavors and projects, and it's how you have fun and how you have a good time. And so there's this thing where in your thinking, okay, now remember, you've already mastered this, but this is an example of my chart of my Jupiter in Leo, but you also would go find your Jupiter, and you just take all the keywords of the sign that it's in. So Leo, fun, children, joy, creativity, romance, dating, relating, mating, exercise, having fun with your body, being physically active with your body. This is all Leo stuff. Being kind of risky, actually, is Leo energy. It's, you're the brave lion. You're very courageous, and you don't mind taking risks when you have that kind of Leo energy. And I have Jupiter there, so in some areas, yes, willing to take a risk. And so you have to figure out and see in your own chart how that works out for you and where that is for you. And if you know where your Jupiter is, like what sign it is, I can tell you what it means if you just comment below and tell me, hey, G, I found my Jupiter. My Jupiter is in Taurus. My Jupiter is in Pisces. My Jupiter, whatever sign it's in, just comment to me, and then I'll understand what you need the meanings for, and I'll share it with you. I'll comment right back to you. I can take quick looks even if you want. If you have your chart, if you get your birth digits to me, I can take quick looks and help you to fill in the blanks, because this is something that you're leaving and you're letting go. However, this is another good thing. Because it's a solar south node eclipse, it's something you're done with. But because it's the south node, you're going to be given a gift. Something is coming. It's the south node, but it's solar. And typically when it's the sun, we're starting something new. All right, think about that. starting something new. It's the opposite of the full moon eclipse, because the full moon is a completion and a closure, whereas the sun it's a new day. The sun is rising, it's on the horizon, it's a new day, there's new optimism, fresh optimism, there's new freedoms, there's something new that's coming. And so this is, it's almost like they're almost the same in that you're letting go and leaving something behind. But this one does not involve the emotions. Because it's a south node lunar eclipse, it's more of a simple, I'm done. I'm just done with that. I already mastered that. Okay. It's like me saying, well, I already mastered YouTube. Not that I'm making a ton of money or that I have a buttload of followers or, subscribers, but I know the back behind the scenes inner workings of it, and I'm ready to learn something new. And that is a big deal for us Taurians because of our Capricorn energy in our ninth house. Your ninth house is continuing education. And so this has been a journey, and it will always be. You have Capricorn in your ninth house. You're always going to like to learn, okay? Always going to like to keep on learning. That's going to be important. Tied into spirituality and your religion and your philosophy on life, connecting with source, like hearing the word of God, hearing information from the universe, getting downloads. You have Capricorn in the ninth house. If no one's ever told you about it, Taurus, the ninth house is spirituality, and it is where you hear the word of God. It is where the voice of God comes in. And having Capricorn means you want to go to the source. You don't want to hear from lingering spirits. You don't want to hear from people on the beings on the astral plane. You want to hear it right from the source's mouth. And that's what Capricorn is. It wants to get to the very top, and it will just keep climbing until it reaches that point. January, things change, but they begin in your mid-month through December. In my hand, I am holding our heart. Literally, this is our selenite heart, and we're going to be focusing on heart energy for real. Because when we get to January, we have Jupiter and Saturn moving. And Jupiter and Saturn moving enter the sign into Aquarian energy. Now, this is a good thing for mankind, for groups of people, for friendships. It's all about talking and thinking and communication, because Aquarius energy is air, okay? And it is fixed air, which when you hear the word fixed, Taurus, your ears need to perk up. This is why we've got the heart energy happening here. Heart, have faith, have trust in the good and the abundance of what is to come. Have trust and have faith in that which you cannot see, that which is greater than you, that which created me, that which created you, that which created the universe. Understanding that heart energy, where does that power come from? Literally, what makes the heart beat, right? We can break the science down and be like, yeah, well, there's blood that flows through the heart. And then there's all these veins and there's these arteries. Yes, but what exactly is the life force that keeps it flowing? What is that thing that gives us our vitality? The sun comes through, it gives us our power, our energy, our vibrancy. It literally feeds us, and we see it when we look at nature. And Taurus, you understand this pretty well. Fixed earth energy, which is why when I said heads up, we've got Jupiter and Saturn going into fixed air, that automatically lets you know that when fixed angles fixed, it's a square. Like energies create tension and stress. It's the like elements that give us our trine, right? So like earth and earth squaring or angling up, I should say, earth and earth angling up gives us a trine energy. But fixed and fixed, it's like two bulls in the pasture butting heads, okay? This is fixed thinking with my fixed material world, right? Taurus is fixed earth. So it's my material world, my tangible objects in my world, things that I value, people that I value, relationships that have been around for a very long time. There's this happening. And so this sets up tension. This sets up stress. At this point, when we've got the Jupiter and the Saturn energy squaring with the Taurus energy, going into Aquarius, that's your friends. Okay, this is also the internet, right? And I've been trying to reemphasize this to myself, right? This is just as much a message for me and about me as it is you, if you are a Taurus ascendant, because I also share that rising sign. Now, I also am a Taurus sun sign. So I also have to be very careful as to, I have to pay attention to my sun degrees. Literally, where is my sun at? Well, it's not just, I have other planets in Taurus as well. So if you have planets in Taurus, including your birthday, if you are a birthday Taurus, this will also affect you because the Jupiter and the Saturn together into Aquarian energies, Jupiter tends to expand things, all right? And it's pretty powerful in Aquarius energy because it's air and it has the power to be more expansive than it was able to be in Capricorn energy, right? So in Capricorn energy, it was earth, it was grounded, so to speak. Jupiter was somehow being contained. It couldn't expand as much as it likes to. When it gets into the Aquarian energy, it can expand. So we have Saturn, who is all about restrictions, and Saturn's in an air sign now. So it will be likely a restriction of group activity, no doubt, because it's Aquarian energy, a restriction of group activity. So your Aquarian energy, Taurus, is in your 10th house. So this is your ambitions and your goals, all right? Your ambitions and your goals. This is what you came to accomplish in this lifetime, that 10th house energy. You look at it and you're like, okay, this, even though you may not have vocally or verbally said this at one time, this is in your mind, right? Aquarius energy in the 10th house. You do most of the mulling over about what your ambitions and what your goals are. And whether you're cognizant of it or not will be a mixed bag. Because when we look at your 11th house, which is your group energy, you've got Piscean energy there, which is water. What you're looking at is your ascendant, your physical body, being angled and squared by your ambitions. Now, does this mean that you will not be able to go forward with your goals and your ambitions, something which you may have been able to work towards in the year of 2020, even though we were living in a pandemic? For a lot of folks, the pandemic actually helped them in a weird way. Like this happened, and all of a sudden they had to go over here and do this. But in a way, it helped them because some of us preferred to be indoors. Some of us preferred to not have to be in the group energy and be with people. Some of us preferred like, oh, this means I have to stay home. Oh, gee, what a bummer. Now, for others, that was a horrible thing. For others, it was a big flux of like, holy crap, this is not who I am. I'm an extrovert. I got to be out there. I got to be doing things. I feel like I'm being like I have no freedom. Well, here's the deal. Jupiter in your 11th, in your 10th house, okay, this is your ambitions and your goals. I keep hearing material goals. Your material goals, but it's really because it's the 10th house, right? And 10th house is Capricorn energy, so it is material goals. It is like that ladder that you've been climbing, your ambitions. At the same time, you have group energy there. So I'm not going to say the word weird, although that's what I wanted to say, but you have group energy in your 10th house. So what that means is there is a time of connecting and with people using the internet because that is also that energy, right? The sign of Aquarius is inventions with humanity, right? Things that helped humanity advance. So what's going to happen is if you were using something that was helping you advance as far as your ambitions, and if it was the internet, there's new rules, all right? There's new rules, but if I were to look at your private chart, there might be something where this Saturn in Jupiter, Saturn with Jupiter in Aquarius is actually helping you because it's going to help your Gemini energy. It's a trine to your Gemini energy. It's a trine to your Libran energy. And what that does is it sets up beautiful ease with significant one-on-one relationships. It sets up beautiful ease with people in your immediate environment, in your immediate community. So if you are doing business with people on social media, okay, where you have digital neighbors, Saturn is all of a sudden trining that, and so is Jupiter. And so that brings abundance and goodness. So although we will be faced with some sort of, oh man, that's like, okay, I've got these new rules, we're going to learn to operate, all right? So have faith, hold on to your higher heart, which is in combination with your relating and your talking and your communicating. Even though Jupiter and Saturn are going to be in this Aquarian energy, which means there's more rules within groups, it sets up a beautiful trine to your neighbors, to people in your community where you live, to sibling energy, but also to your digital neighbors. All right. And that is also the internet. That is social media. It also sends up a beautiful trine to your Libran energy, right? Libra is the 7th house energy. It is commitments. It is relationships. It is the law. It is my one-on-ones, me having a relationship, talking to you one-on-one. This is what you're going to work with. This is what you're going to focus on. Don't allow the mind to focus on the squares and the angles that are uncomfortable. But I had to let you know what was going on because I got to be straight. This is what I would want to know. And I have to be realistic. We got to take the salty with the sweet. We got to take the sour, right, with the mellow. We got to take all the energies. It's holistic energy because that's who we are as human beings. We are complex beings. And when we can learn to move forward and understand and accept the complexities of our lives, we will then have more realistic expectations. And we understand to get through trying times, we lift up our sorrows, we lift up our pain, and we understand we are divine beings and that we have the power. It is within us. We are an image of that divine being that created all, the universe, God, Allah, whatever you call deity, whatever deity is for you, whatever you pray to. You know, many hold the name of Jesus sacred in their hearts, and that is fine. Do that because Jesus's real teachings were so mystical, so metaphysical. This is definitely, what did Jesus say? What did Jesus say? You reap that which you sow. So you want to make sure the seeds that you plant are those of goodness, of abundance, of optimism. And you move forward in 2021, understanding that mind training, being positive, being very careful as to what sort of thoughts you keep is what will elevate you into the next coming frequencies. Let's focus on the good and let's verbalize the good. Let's verbalize the possibilities. Let's use our voice. Let's bring our light.